Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Hammer the point and feel the power. Yes. It's Hammer the Point, the best YouTube show about West Ham United. Yeah, that's right. And it features Ray and friends. You got to tune in right now. Everything related to West Ham United is right here on Hammer the Point.
Welcome. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? It is back once again with the Renegade Master. Raymond's here to play it all night long. It is an hour early time. We are midnight in the world of the UK now. But tonight's show, I've got my big pal, my wingman, my spanner. He is Charlie Walsh. How you doing, Charlie?
I don't know how I feel about being called big man, like a big man. Like, I don't know. No judgment, Ray. I'm just hungry. That's all. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm not judging right here.
No judgment. Look at that. Big moves.
With also his partner in crime. If you watch his watch-alongs during the games, it is Tom. How you doing, Thomas?
Yeah, not bad. Always nice to get a message from you about 25 minutes before you go live asking me to jump on. It's always good when I was in the middle of streaming myself, but it's okay. I'm glad to be here.
Let's talk about that. How's the stream going?
Yeah. There's a few clips I'm sure that Charlie will share with you at some point, but no, it was good. It was good fun. Always up for talking about West Ham, though, obviously. So that's why I'm here.
With that, I've got two special guests with me this evening, both Everton supporters. As you can see with the guy right below me, Jay, who you normally see in the group chat as my one of my head doormen. Jay, how you doing today? With sunglasses on, and lights off.
Ray and the gang, how's things?
Good.
Good stuff.
With me as well is Sean, an Everton supporter. How you doing, Sean?
Yeah, man, not bad. Nice night. Good to see you all.
Indeed. Well, before we get on to them two, let's talk to Charlie and to Tom about West Ham versus Wolves. What an amazing result we had there. Charlie, how was the script thing coming on? What a fantastic result. None of us predicted last week this.
I know. It was wild. I still don't really believe it happened, if I'm being honest. We just sort of turned up and it was like Wolverhampton didn't know their arse from their elbow. It was a bit... Their defence was shocking, like really legitimately shocking. I was watching them try to even do anything. It was just, to put it into some perspective of how insane it was, Arthur Masuaku tackled Adama Traore. Flipping Arthur Masuaku hasn't had a good football game in about 4 years, and yet somehow he's out here tackling Adama Traore like it's nothing. It was wild. It was a wild game.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Tom, what did you think of the game?
Yeah, no, same as Charlie. We were sat watching it. And it was kind of it was a bit unbelievable, really. It was. I don't think any of us expected it. Tactically, for the first time this season, actually, David Moyes I would say first time because he did it in Arsenal. We were unlucky, obviously, towards the end, but tactically matched up brilliantly with Wolves. Their entire team, defence, midfield, everything was just non-existent. No clue why, because they played the exact same formation, similar team when they beat us at the London Stadium at the back end of last season, and they absolutely dominated us. But for whatever reason, give the players credit, give Moyes credit, but no, all of them turned up, and it was an unbelievable win at the end of the day. And on a fixture list that's got like 8 of our toughest games of the season back to back, I think that was probably 3 points we didn't think that we were going to pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't see us picking up any points now for the first 7 games. And do you know what? It makes me quite excited. Makes me enthusiastic about the teams that we got going forward. Even if we get another 3 points in the next few games, that's got to be a fantastic result. What do you reckon went wrong with Wolves, Tom?
Not a clue. I was literally, like Charlie said, they didn't know their arse from their elbow. I was gobsmacked sitting there watching them, just because you know how deadly they are, especially when they've got some big players as well that they can bring off the bench, their record signing and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, Arthur Masuaku turned into prime Messi. His dribbling, his control, his defence, everything. We know how good he is and how good he can be playing at left wing back. But I don't know, just every area of the pitch where you thought that they could come at us, whether it be down the left, down the right, they're just non-existent. The midfield, we overran them for the entire game. Moutinho, Neves, neither of them created anything. Defence looked all at shot, and they did not turn up. Just did not look like the Wolves side that we know or should have expected at the weekend. So I'm pretty sure even Nuno Santo was probably sitting there thinking, I've got no idea what's happened there, because it was genuinely one of the worst performances I think I've ever seen from Wolves. So,
yeah, Charlie, what did you think? What do you reckon went wrong for Wolves?
I think their defensive shape was like their wing backs weren't wing backs. They were, but they weren't around. So every time we got in behind, we had three people just sat there, basically waiting to receive the ball in between Moutinho and Neves, and then their back three, and there was no wing backs getting involved. Their three were actually organised well. You could see they were following instructions and they were in good shape, but they were just backing off and backing off and backing off and backing off. And that's what they were told to do. They stayed incredibly compact to try and stop shots coming in, but it didn't really make a difference, because what happened is Bowen just kept running at them. They didn't even dare come near him to stop him, bent it into the bottom corner. It's a goal. And it was too easy. And then by that point, they started to be a bit more adventurous, trying to step a little bit more just to try and get back into the game. And that just gave us the space to play in. It was wild. It was wild. I didn't think that the formation, I had a feeling going in that it wasn't going to be as bad as I maybe first thought. And I don't know why, but I think their formation just didn't work for them at all, really. And then it came to their front line, and I think our defense just, it outlasted them. It just did bits.
Yeah, but I think one of you guys said it on another channel. Is how often does Bowen get, or one of our players get 2 goals, and you can't say that he's man of the match, because there were so many other players that were playing really well. It's really crazy. It's really it's good to see, and it's really exciting to see what goes happen. And we've got a team for the Premiership. By the looks of it, we've got fucking over 100 million playing for our cup games, which we'll get onto in a bit. And the next game we've got in the league is Leicester. As far as I'm concerned, bring him on. We're playing fantastic, good football. What did you think about?
Don't do that, Ray. Don't do that.
I know.
As West Ham fans, we always do this. Our full sense of hope and optimism. You just know fine well after they've slapped City that we're about to be on the end of a 7-0 drubbing or something like that.
Someone like Crystal Palace or someone random like that. Absolutely crazy. Charlie, what did you think of who was the standout players for you? Was Bowen? It scored 2 goals. Fantastic.
Yeah, Bowen was the big one for me. I thought he was back to what we saw last season. He struggled a little bit for form. He's still worked hard and done what he could, but it's not just fallen for him at all. He's not had the luck. He's not been sort of anywhere near as effective as he has been, but he stepped up in that game and was one of the bigger reasons why we absolutely battered them. I thought him and Antonio together up front were causing them all manner of problems, and it's the sort of game where Haller, in hindsight, I would have asked for him, but in hindsight, I think it was actually right to have 2 people just directly running at them and nothing else, because their defense couldn't deal with it. And I think that's one of the big reasons why we succeeded. I think everyone had a good game. I don't think there was anyone who really had a bad game per se. But when you're looking at the people who stand out for me specifically, it was those 2, and then probably Masuaku. And again, he wasn't. It was weird because he was putting in a couple of crosses which were genuinely good, which is something he never does. But just that dribbling is so insane. He should not have the ability to have the close control to go past an entire team like he does. And yet there were several times where he picked it up basically in our box and went through their entire team just to get it up the other end of the pitch. And he does it like it's nothing. It's so easy to him. And I think he deserves respect because he's been crap for such a long time now. When he at least does something right, you should give him credit for it.
Yeah, and how many of us at the beginning of the season was looking to replace him quite quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was definitely one of them. Like I purposely said, left back is our most important position to buy. I really did think that, and I still think we do need a left back and someone that can push on it, because we are playing Cresswell in a centre back left sided position. So if he gets injured, we're screwed in that position, which is kind of like a left back area. Or if Mark gets injured, we're going to have to put Cresswell. Who's going to replace him? We need some backup in our defensive areas. Tom, what do you think overall performance? Who was your standout people? Just Mark Rucker?
Yeah, no, it's much the same as Charlie. I think that's really for us is the best thing is that when Jarrett Bowen, I think for me he stands out, and when he's on form because he's making those darting runs in behind the centre backs. The first few games of the season didn't see that. That's his best attribute that he has is sticking on, the last defender and making a cut in behind the back three, the back four, whatever it is, and just causing a nuisance. Exactly what he did against Wolves. Again, for the Masuaku thing, it's unbelievable, really, that the performances that he can put in when he tries the hardest, and it's the same thing that we see with David Moyes, apparently the players respect him as one of the best trainers in the training sessions, and for him, he's just never been able to translate that into the games, unfortunately. But put him at a more natural left wing back position where he doesn't have to do too much of the defensive, covering. He's unbelievable. And I said this to Charlie. It reminds me of the first time that Moyes took charge, and he had free reign to go up and down that left lane in the back five as left wing back. He didn't have to cover defensively so much. Cresswell, who doesn't necessarily have the pace that he once had, but still is fast enough to play as a left-sided centre half, thought it was absolutely brilliant. So I'm all for him using this tactic. Not every game this season, but if he's going to get the best out of the players as well, that like even the two-man midfield. I don't want to mention it, go on too long, but Souček and Noble and Rice together. I don't think there's even room for Mark Noble in the starting 11 going forward because he doesn't have the engine that those two have. I just thought to a man, every single player the other night was absolutely mustard. And it's a shame, actually, the first time I probably ever said it, that Ryan Fredericks has gone down and got injured because he's actually was looking a real bright spot for us potentially in what was going to be supposed to be quite a dark time. So, yeah, no, every single player just did unbelievably well. 9 out of 10 performances across the board for me.
Yeah, it was a fantastic result. And that brings us on to like our transfer targets and our transfer maybe outgoings, maybe. Oh, let's be worried about that. But Tom, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we need to replace someone at the right back position now because we've only got Fredericks and we've got Young,
Johnson.
And a mind blank. Are we going to need to have cover there, or are we going to be safe in that position? What do you reckon?
I don't think Fredericks is as bad as we once thought, so I wouldn't be going to splash the cash on another right back. I know it's a stretch, but Harrison Ashby as well is there, I guess, as a backup, and he proved he played quite well the other night if he really needed to. But I think Ben Johnson should do enough to survive the next sort of like 2-3 weeks because I think there's a break coming in between as well, a week or so break. So I'm not too worried. I don't think it's a main priority position for us, and I think the money's, if there is any, is better spent elsewhere.
Where do you reckon's your number one position now? Is it centre back? Is it left back?
I don't know. There's the team. Although they play well, there's still certain things I'd like. I would like another centre back. I wouldn't like another left back. I would say probably centre back at the minute, obviously, and it's just like when linked with absolute. I've seen this linked with about 12 to 15 names in the last 2 days of players: Maksimovic, Hinteregger, Jonathan Tah. Regani, it's just stupid. I'm not going to get into it too much because it'll just set me off. But it's it's just scattergun approach, isn't it? Like hoping that one of the transfer bids will finally land, and it's just a bit of a shit approach, really. But hey, we come to expect it from our owners, don't we?
Yeah, I would like to see some of the emails that have been sent back and forth to I'm going to get this South American guy from Barcelona if you do not let me have this guy for $1 million.
Borrow a lad from PSG.
We'll borrow a player from PSG.
Yeah, crazy talk. Charlie, same question to you. What do you reckon? Is right back an issue we need to look at, or is it centre back, or is it left back, or different position? What do you reckon?
All of them to some extent. I think if we're going to go with a back three, which we seem to be, as much as Cresswell seems okay there at times, we're running out of senior centre backs quite quickly at that point. We only really have three, unless I'm forgetting someone. So it's a bit of a risk to run in that sense. So a centre back would be nice, but even then, I think I'm still at the stage where I don't trust Masuaku and I don't trust Ryan Fredericks, despite them playing well recently. That I would, if we got fullbacks in, I would not be complaining at all. But outside of that, I mean, defensive midfield is the only one I think we need a player in, and we need one ASAP because, I mean, we're probably going to rotate the squad for this game, and that means Rice can't. Well, Rice is the only DM we have, so we either play him again or we just don't play a DM. That's kind of a problem we have right now. So I think we need an out-and-out defensive midfielder who can come in where needed, especially if Rice gets injured. But outside of that, it's just the three defensive positions. They need reinforcements in some sense.
And with all the rumours that's going around at the moment, do you think we're going to lose Declan before the end of the transfer window? Do you reckon we can hold on with him with the captain's armband?
Yeah, no. Do you know what? I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna say yeah. Why in the fecking hell is he gonna want to go to Chelsea when they look a shower of shite at the minute? I just don't think he'll go. I think January. Yeah, fair enough. But if I was West Ham and I'd say to Chelsea, if you're gonna take him off us, 50, 60, 70 million, whatever it is, just give it the money now, so at least we've got the week to try and figure out. If they come through on the final day of the season and go, here's the money for him, if I was West Ham, no matter how much the price was, I'd say no, because we've done ourselves a disservice there again. So for me, if we're going to sell him, it has to be literally, I would say, tomorrow or Thursday, and that's it, because otherwise it's impossible for us to then bring players in. So I think Chelsea leaving it stupidly late, and I don't think he'll go.
Yeah. Charlie, what do you reckon?
I'm going to agree with Tom. I don't think they have the money to do it. I think they're trying to sell all these players because, they've checked all the nooks and crannies for the money that they have, and they just haven't got enough there for it now. So they're trying to sell players in order to make it work, because they've already bought such an insane amount of players that the money was bound to run up eventually. And I don't think he's high enough off their priority list. Like at that point, how many players can they actually sell? Like, sure, if Barkley goes, for example, he'll go for 25 million or something. That's great, but you're still a good 55 million off the asking price or whatever it is. So how many of those can you actually get? We're seeing lots of rumors of people leaving there on loan, be it Loftus-Cheek or someone like that, but we're not seeing a lot of people being super interested in buying their players outright. So I just think realistically we won't sell because of that. And I think the later it gets, I honestly, and this is a mad thing to say, I genuinely trust the owners not to sell him, because it will just leave such a horrendous gape in the middle of the pitch if he were to go there. It just wouldn't be feasible. So I think somehow I do trust them not to do it last second just for the money, but we'll see. I don't think he'll leave. I was always more scared of Man United in the first place, and they don't seem to have much interest in him right now. So next summer, even potentially January, but for now he'll be here on October 6th or whenever the window ends.
Yeah, I kind of have confidence. And I think this is all in my head. Don't worry about it. But I feel like he actually wants to stay for at least this season. I think he's going to do the whole season. He wants to do a full captain's iron bag with.
As I said, if Noble doesn't get back in the team, he's the captain shoo-in for the rest of the season. And I mean, that's got to be enough to tempt him to stay. I know that doesn't sound a lot, but for someone his age, I think that's enough to say, just stick with us for another season, see what happens. You can captain it, and then you can go. He's only 21,
Exactly. I agree. I totally agree. I think he wants it. I think he did tell Noble, I've seen it in a video somewhere before, that Noble and him were having banter over how many games Noble's played, and Declan's got a long way to catch up. And he was like, well, I'm going to try and get there as close as I can. So it was kind of exciting to see that. So I do think he will stay this summer. I do think he's going to be captain for most of it. I think Noble's going to love that because he wants to keep him there. And maybe if we keep pushing on to where we are, maybe Europe next year, maybe Champions League. I've seen the videos. Champions League, next season, West Ham United.
There's
Crazy.
only one team on this preview who are even dangerously close to Champions League, and it's not West Ham United. Right?
That is true. And, you know, I'm surprised Scousers have been quiet for this long. It's been 20 minutes. They've kept quiet. Let's bring them into the show. Jay, let's talk to you first.
What's going on, Ray?
The West Ham versus Wolves game?
I did. I was impressed, to be fair.
Yeah?
Wolves are a bogey team, man. I dread playing a team like Wolves, but he's kept Traore quiet, which is a big one as well.
Yeah, he's a big old lad to keep quiet as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you're saying Jared Bowen. I think Antonio was your man.
Yeah?
I thought he was your man there, but I was texting you, I like literally every time something decent was going on. But Jared Bowen, that's been the first time I've watched him play. Is he having a piss in? Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I bet he doesn't even wash his hands. Look at this. We're in a pandemic. He's not washing his hands. Jesus. What did you invite him for? Here he is. Did you wash your hands? Did you even wash your hands?
Obviously.
Whatever, lads. Whatever. Jeez, giving us a bad name here, lads. What the hell? Anyway, that first finish from Bowen. Oh my days, that was lovely. That was lovely. I can't say his name. Who's the big one that scored the header?
Souček.
He's a threat. He's a threat. And if he plays against Everton, I fear for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way everyone describes him is he's the new Fellaini for David Moyes. Big man, pops up in the box, getting those big headers, getting in around everything.
He does.
That's the comparison.
He'll either win the big headers or he'll be there just as the ball drops and pokes them in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Scored a lot of goals at the back end of the last season doing exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly that. And do you know what? And that's what you need as well, especially because I love Fellaini personally. I love Fellaini because he got them scrappy goals that you needed in them games. You know what I mean? So me personally, I think he's a threat, to be honest.
Yeah. Just for the people in the group chat, we are going to have some subtitles added into this later because Jay is very scared and can't actually understand him. But we're adding it for you Londoners later.
I wondered how long it was going to take you to say something like that. You fucking man child.
We need them for when he's got a mouthful of crisp and we can't hear him.
This is the fake Cockney from fucking Herefordshire or wherever it is.
Anyway, Sean, did you watch the game? West Ham v Wolves?
Yeah, I did. I was with you, wasn't I? I remember saying to you that I generally thought you were going to turn Wolves over. I believe Wolves are very overrated, but they've had sort of the luck of the draw the last season or two because the transition with the so-called top six, and they found the weak link with teams like Traore. And I think now it's becoming a little bit stale, to be honest. That might be my opinion, but I think they are. And I think you played a perfect game.
Wolves made the mistake selling Jota.
And Doherty as well.
They made the big because did you watch him against Arsenal when he came on?
Yeah, Jota's a really good player.
They didn't appreciate him.
I would have him tomorrow. But
yeah, they never appreciated him, and you could see that and missed him.
But West Ham played really well, and that's what even against the game against Arsenal when you just lost 2-1, you just deserved at least a point out of that game. And
we did.
For me, you just got robbed because of the penalty decision with Gabriel. But
someone just call me Jamie Carragher? Rah.
The show's going to be crazy tonight. Actually, I agree with Jay with the Antonio thing as well. Like, I do think Antonio had a fantastic. His work rate, he's always had a good work rate for West Ham. So fantastic. Let's move on to the West Ham versus Everton. So it's West Ham B team because they're actually we should call them our C team because they are the cup team. They're going to be playing against Everton. What do you reckon, Jay? Are you worried about our 100 million Haller Yarmolenko.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yarmolenko, I do worry about. It all depends what Everton. It depends what approach you want to take to this, because me personally, I think we should go all out for this cup, because we haven't had a trophy in 20 plus years. So me personally, I think we should go all out for this cup. Now, the thing is with Everton is I never wanted to finish. If we couldn't get Champions League, I didn't want the Europa, because we never had the teams to play Thursday and Sunday night games. We didn't have that strength. But now, I think we've got that strength to play Thursday and Sunday nights. So I think I'll be happy going all out for this cup and then finishing a comfortable 5th and 6th. I'll be happy with that. So it all depends on whatever. It all depends on whatever and turn up, to be honest, and what mentality they've got.
A strong team.
Not. I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna say probably the same as the last game, to be honest, against Fleetwood. Probably same team as that. But for me personally, I'd rest. Like, I wouldn't play with Richarlison. I'd rest him. I wouldn't play with Richarlison. I'd give Walcott some game time. And give because he's good support for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But me theoretically, I think we need to start preparing Calvert-Lewin for if Richarlison isn't going to be there. Because personally, I don't think he's going to be there much longer.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to start preparing for.
I always forget that Walcott is still at Everton.
I always forget he still exists as a footballer.
But he's still so relevant when he plays. I think he's class.
I agree.
I think he's class. I think he's very underrated. You got to consider where he's come from. He's very, very underrated. But me personally, I think he's class.
Yeah. Sean, what do you reckon? Are you worried about West Ham in the cup? Do you reckon you're going to field a strong team?
I think we have to, because we can't take your so-called B team lightly. The players like Yarmolenko, he did us at Goodison a couple of years ago and he scored 2 goals. Antonio, we know what he's about. Lanzini, Anderson, you they can all turn up. I think probably rest Rodriguez. Don't play him until if we get any further. I'm with Jay with Richarlison. We should be winning them games without Richarlison. Maybe Moise Kean, give him a tryout. You know what I mean? Let him play the whole game. But yeah, no, it's going to be a tough game. Definitely going to be. We conceded 2 against Fleetwood, and at times in that Fleetwood game we looked ropey at the back. But this time it's West Ham.
So you're saying
be full of it.
But you're saying rest Rodriguez. Who would you play in ahead of them? Because the likes of Sigurdsson, they're very static players. You don't see them moving too often. He likes to stay and ping the ball different. But I think like the likes of Declan Rice, they will zone him out the game. We need Rodriguez to be able to move the ball up and down the field rather than just stay static, where he will get absolutely dry humped by them.
Do you have Bernard to do that in the Cups as well? Does he play more of a central position or does he play out wide?
He plays more out wide, Bernard, in the Cups, but I think I just seen a predicted lineup from before, and we are going with 3 in the middle from what it looks like. But again, I just think Bernard is not strong enough to play more of a central position. He's very he needs to be more out wide. He's not got that body, that frame to be in that centre going up with the likes of Rice, anyone like that.
I think the likes of Sigurdsson, like Filthy Sigurdsson, should be, if you play him in the middle instead, he should be getting the better of all respect people like Declan Rice, because he's got the experience to pick the pass to score the goal. And I know he's had his bad times as Sigurdsson, but he can have that moment, and that's where he said we've got 31 players in our squad now. We need these players to step up in these types of games and prove themselves. The same with Walcott. He's being linked away with Leeds today, and Ancelotti said he's in his plans. And I love Walcott. I think he's such a good professional, like compared to the likes of Iwobi, who comes in instead of him. I feel like Walcott would have more of an effect against West Ham than Iwobi. And the likes of Sigurdsson. I just don't think we can risk Rodriguez. because one little injury, because we know what he's always been like with his injuries.
It did look
We
knackered
need to
against
be.
Palace at the end as well.
That's what I mean. We need to not rely on these three: Decore, Alan, Rodriguez. The others should be winning these games.
I mean,
We should not
we're
have
going
to
to
be
be
relying on them.
realistically, we're probably going to be playing 2 in the middle, which means if you put 3 in there, you are going to have a better chance of dominating that situation. And we saw, Bernard, for example, was someone who absolutely did us in a couple of seasons ago at the London Stadium.
Yeah.
He absolutely made a mockery of our midfield basically by himself. Like, it's if you put 3 in there, you're going to have a better chance. It's just, but you know what David Moyes is like. He's going to sit deep and he's going to just hit you on the counter attack, and that's it. There is no plan B. There is barely a plan A. That's what he's going to do. And so realistically, if you're putting the players in, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want team players who are going to be able to break it down, whether that's with a pass or whether that's with a deft touch or whatever. So although Sigurdsson might not be, he's certainly not mobile. I agree with Jay there. I don't think he's like the most mobile player in the world. But what he can do is if he's already in behind Rice and Souček or whoever plays in those 2 roles, which I don't think it'll be Rice and Souček, but those people do get forward. When we're in the attack, there is a situation where there's space there. And so if he's just stood there by himself with no one around him and you hit him with the ball, and he will have the time to take a step, to turn, to look up and find that pass. And Gylfi Sigurdsson does have that in his ability. So it's not like he's the worst option, but again, we are just going to sit deep and we're just going to absorb whatever we can. It's just going to be a case of can we deal with it, you know?
So will you play 5 at the back?
Yeah, I think so,
we have been, and I suspect we're going to go for it in this one.
See, that's where we struggled. I think I seen a stat the other day. I think we're one of the lowest teams to have scored from set pieces or our aerial battles dreadful and like that. So I think with 5 at the back and you sitting deep, we'll struggle because I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I do, but me personally, I think he's no good at going forward. He's not got that skill to beat a player.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think he'll struggle there with that many at the back.
That's
What do you
fair.
reckon? Tom, what do you reckon? What do you reckon on Everton? Are you worried about Everton?
Yeah, I mean, I said it in the preview with Charlie. I think as Jay said, I think this is the best time for Everton to go all out for this cup because you get a win here, it buoys their season on even further, especially the form that they've taken into this game as well. I think I had a look at the last 2 lineups for Fleetwood, and they're similar to us, a mix of youth and experience in there as well. I don't think it's going to be clean sheets for either team. I think there's going to be goals both sides. And I think you said there as well, Jay, you struggle to break those teams down, and maybe Calvert-Lewin isn't the most of mobile strikers to get past that anyway, which is why I'm worried about if Richarlison plays Ben Johnson down the left. I think he's going to be in for quite a long night because when he came on the other day against Wolves, he was beaten within the first few seconds because he wasn't up to the speed of the game. He hasn't got the same turn of pace that Fredericks does anyway. And I think if there's one real point of attack for you, especially if Elise, our young centre-half, is playing maybe over on that right side as well, that's going to be the danger area all night, is Richarlison getting in, maybe Bernard if he plays as well, making overlapping runs or trying to get in behind him. I definitely think I think Ancelotti will definitely go for it. Like I said, I think it's the best time to go for that cup competition. Same for us, same for Everton. And I worry just on the basis of the fact that who we're going to be playing with Johnson and Elise, how much success are Everton going to have? And I think it's going to be quite a long night for the 2 young guys potentially over on the right.
But will West Ham worry about playing Leicester the next game? Are you going to go all out for it? Wiggins having Leicester the next game?
But the thing is, this is the same. We say that we need like backups and stuff. I think we do need some defensive backups, but we've got so many options forward. Because we often forget if it's not the team that played the other day, you've still got Allaire, Anderson, Yarmolenko, Snodgrass, Wilshere, Noble, Cullen if he was fit, Lanzini. Like, there's so many different options attacking that you can throw at any team, really, which is why I think this team's played so well in the cup, because they haven't had the Premier League minutes to go with it because they never get substituted on. Sorry, Jazz, I know you're in the chat. David Moyes is a twat for doing that, but never makes a substitution before the 86th minute. But yeah, we've got so many different options. And the thing is, the guys that are playing there were the first team players last season, so they're already gel well enough as it is. So that's why I'm not worried that we won't score goals. I think those three are absolutely on fire, playing together at the minute as they are. And like I said, I think you started Kenny for a couple, and there was another young lad whose name I can't pronounce as well.
Is he the French left back?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
He's class, him. I think he's another level in, mate.
Yeah. So whether or not, Anderson, whether or not he has a quiet game, we don't know. But no, I think we've got so many different attacking options that a second choice right now that really should be first for us potentially.
I think it's where the rotation will come in is just at the back, because we don't have those people. So you're going to see probably youth players in and around the defence. Probably like Elise will probably start, who's like a teenage centre back who's only played in the cup for us this season and nothing else, and a couple of preseason games. Then you've got like the idea of Ben Johnson potentially at right back, who's a youth right back who's trying to push into the first team. You've got Ashby, who's another youth right back who'll probably be the second choice right back for the day. I mean, there's a couple of youth players who will be in and around that defence, because that will be where they rotate. I suspect we'll play three at the back. I suspect it will be Elise, who's a teenager, and then two more senior centre backs, as Tom said on the preview. It'll be something like Balbuena or Bonner or something like that. There will be some experience in there, but we just don't have the room to rotate there. But we will, because otherwise, like you say, there is Leicester coming up, and we've got our cup team and our Prem team sort of going at the moment. I think anyway.
Yeah, I think we're in a great position. Like, we have got a lot of attacking players in a squad that, especially since we're all injury free mostly, and the fact that the games are pretty early in the season. I think this is our perfect time that we could actually get a good run. We could get to the semis, could get to the final of the cup. I do think Everton are a really good team, are really strong. I love their manager. I always liked Everton as a team because they're always just slightly below that.
He doesn't say this when you're not here, by the way. When you're not here, he's slating Everton, everything under the sun. He doesn't shut up about it. But the second you're here, they're a nice team, I like, blah, blah, blah.
I do it to their faces, don't you worry.
Yeah. I hear it all the time off them, all the time.
But I do see Everton as a great team that is going to probably take to that next level. Especially with the likes of the new stadium going into the docks. I've not really heard much about that. Jay, what's going on with your new stadium? Do you know?
Absolutely not, because the mayor of Liverpool is a big fat wet wipe. Joe Anderson, the big filthy pig, is more Arsenal putting the city in lockdown than building Everton's ground. So I hope he's watching this, because he's an absolute plum. But no, me personally, I don't think it'll happen.
Nah, Sean, what do you reckon? Do you reckon you'll get the new stadium?
I think it's probably going to be minimum 3 years. By the way, it's looking, planning permission is being put back with COVID. You're trying to build a stadium on water. You know what I mean? And it's just, there's a lot more to it than a regular stadium. So I think we're going to be looking 2022 earliest when we start it. So
but building a stadium shouldn't stop because of COVID. I'm watching McDonald's get built left, right, and centre. Who gives a fuck about them? Build the stadium.
Exactly.
What you got to do is you got to find a big empty bowl, and you just got to sort of shove yourselves in there, no matter what the consequences are. It works fine for us. Dorian, get involved. Come on, lads.
The good
we
thing
want
for us,
though. That's the thing.
The good thing.
It's just true though. It's just true.
The good thing for us is the mayor is an Everton fan, so if it is going to happen, he will do it. But I cannot see it being anytime soon, and I'm talking like at least 5 to 7 years, and that's me being realistic. I just think it's too big
as well.
Yeah, it's just, but there's loads of things going. There's loads of things that you aren't seeing about. There's petitions from the local community appealing against the stadium not being there. So they've got to battle a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So there's all up in the air at the minute.
Liverpool fans for you, don't it?
Yeah, I'll be excited to see them move, because I'm not a big fan of their old stadium. It is a bit derelict, but I think we might actually just beat Everton. I think we're going to pull it through. I do actually think it's going to be 1-1 throughout 90 minutes, and it's going to be on penalties, and we're just going to sneak. I think we're going to sneak it, but then I remember Randolph is probably going to be in goal.
You watched the preview. You stole my prediction, you bastard.
Oh, did I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Charlie-
you've got one way of beating us, and that's catching us on the break, and that's hoping Michael Keane, because Michael Keane can't run going backwards because he's an absolute donkey. and then you've got little T-Rex arms in goal.
I was about to say, can we just keep shooting from 30 yards?
That's it. Yeah, honestly, God, if you shoot from distance, I guarantee you that Butterfingers will drop it.
I remember all those years ago. Do you remember at the London Stadium? I think our final game of the season, and he had 2 absolute howlers for Lanzini and Arnautovic years ago. How's he not been found out? How does he keep getting in the England squad?
It's not
Because
many
who's
others.
it?
Forget when Adrian scored the winner against us.
Yes.
Beautiful
That-
moment in
Well,
life.
That was when he threw his blood, and now he plays for Liverpool. That makes it worse.
Look
It's
what
just so
Pickford
bad.
done. Look what Pickford done against Fleetwood.
I haven't seen it. Is it bad?
Oh
Yeah.
my days! For some reason, he thought he was Rivaldo trying to take 3-4 touches, and then got absolutely stole off. Oh, it was absolutely dreadful. We're conceding sloppy goals at the minute, and it's coming from our back. It's either coming because Keane's getting caught because he's too slow, or you've got T-Rex arms dropping it.
Snap. This will be a fun game then.
Honest to God, every time a ball comes into the box, my ass twitches. Honestly, it's not good.
Charlie, let's get your predictions. What do you reckon it's going to be?
I got mad confident on the preview earlier on Hammers Chat and said 3-2. I don't know where that confidence came from, so I'm gonna firm it though. I'm gonna stick. It was you, Tom. It was directly. I'm gonna firm it though, and I'm gonna stick with it. But I do think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be. I think you've got 2 teams who aren't great at defending, and that usually produces. And 2 teams who have a lot of attacking talent, and I think that usually produces something that's at least fun to watch.
We're going to jinx it.
The only reason I'm saying 3-2 is I think our rotated front line is technically better than our first front line. Like it's actually a lot more dangerous. Like our current front line that we play in the league games is like it's slapdashed, it's sort of put together and it works, but it's like, okay, the wheels are going to fall off this eventually. Whereas then we rotate, we've got Sebastian Haller, we've got Andre Yarmolenko, and we've got Felipe Anderson, you've got Lanzini in that team, you've got other people in that team. So I think that's why I'm edging for us. But I'm only if you were to ask me this and we hadn't done the preview earlier, you'd probably get a different answer. But Tom hyped me up something silly, so I said 3-2. So I'm going to stick with it. Publicly, at least, I'm going to stick with it. But once this goes on, I'll say, we're going to lose.
So, what do you reckon? What are you going to stick with 1-1?
Yeah, no, I reckon. I'm going to say if this was, like I said on the preview, if this was a league game, I'd be going Everton 3-1 all day. Because it's a cup game, because the players that are coming in for us actually will be playing in their natural positions, not like having Fornals out a left wing, which just makes no sense. But I'm going to say I think it'll finish 2-2, and I think we'll win on penalties. As a bit of a weird, I'm going random because I don't get to do that often. Because we never really go to penalties. We never really get this far in the cup competitions either. So, I'm going to say we're going to win on penalties, and it's going to be 2-2. I'm sticking with my decision. And I said it's going to be 11-10 on penalties. There you go. Because neither the keeper will be able to save shit. So there you go.
John, what do you reckon? What's your scoreline?
I'm gonna go with the belief that we can score a lot. I'm gonna go 4-2.
Ooh,
To Everton.
I like it. To West Ham.
No, to Everton.
I
I have the
Jay-
belief we'll concede, but we'll have too much going forward.
Did I hear Ray just said something about a P45? I'm pretty sure you said that, didn't you?
2 in 1 week.
I would, but he makes a good cup of tea. I'm not. I would. Yeah, what do you reckon? Your prediction?
We're going to win 2-0.
Okay.
Big.
Everton 2-0. Everton 2-0. I just think we're going to be too much going forward. And if we play Fabian Delph, I think he's going to shut you down. So yeah, I think 2-0.
So I'm not laughing at that. I've not heard the words Fabian Delph shot someone down before in some of his. It's been a while since I've heard that.
Well, I saw here earlier. Let me just try and find it. And this was a great question I wanted to ask you guys. And while I'm looking for it, I have to public apology to Foe. If Foe's in here, if he's anywhere about, I do need to publicly apologise for cutting him off last week when he wanted to ask a question to our special guest, Chris. And he hasn't lived me down in every other Hammers chat, West Ham Fan TV, and Mary Hammers. Anytime I see him on, he's like, Ray, I hate you. So, Foe, I'm really sorry. Come back. I love you. I do apologise. But let's ask Jay this question. Great question by Wally. Anyone else got any questions they want to ask? Chuck them in the chat and we'll ask them along. What do you reckon about Moyes and his management time at Everton? Because myself, I criticise it. He's not his game plan to start with, but his game management. I have big issues with his substitutions and how he shapes the team throughout the game. What do you reckon, Jay?
For me, Moyes at Everton, I loved him. I couldn't fault him. I think we've not been as successful since he left. Look at who we've had since then. I don't think we've been successful. And I think what Moyes does perfectly is he works at what he's got. He works at what he's got and he brings in the right players needed. I think we've wasted so much money over the recent years on absolute donkeys like Saint-Toussaint and this other Italian giblet we've got. I think we've wasted an absolute dosh on them. So that's why I think Moyes is just the best at what he does with what he's got. And I actually wanted Moyes back. I was saying to you, Ray, that I would have took Moyes back. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The last time Everton played in the Champions League, did Moyes get us there?
I'm not an Everton fan, so I have no idea.
it was Moyes that got us there. Last time Everton was in the Champions League, Moyes got us there. For me, and then we got knocked out by like Villarreal. That's the last time we ever reached top like that type of table. But then we had like Roberto Martinez, who was promising Champions League and absolutely flopped. So me personally, I would have took Moyes back in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Sean, what did you think of Moyes and his game plan and management?
I agree with what Jay said, but I wouldn't take him back. I think he did well with the resources he had at that time. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. We had 20 million just to spend, like the Fellaini record signing. And for me, I'm more Martinez than anyone else. I just don't think the players delivered for Martinez.
Are you even an Everton fan? What are you talking about? What did Martinez do?
We finished fifth with Martinez as well. Don't forget.
He's a donkey.
No, he wasn't. We had to go.
He's a donkey, and he's messing up the Belgium squad as well.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like Moyes was good at what he did with the financial situation he had. We did well for a lot of years with Moyes, but you know,
I still think he could have gone on and had a good career. I still think he could have gone on after Everton if any other job than that Man United job. It was a poison chalice for him. I mean, how can you say to a manager that's never really reached that level would ever get any close to Sir Alex Ferguson and say, you are the successor, I see myself in you, and all that kind of crap that was said? He was always going to fail. He was always.
That was a jump too far, definitely.
Yeah.
You're probably sitting down, having a little bit of haggis, a little whiskey, and then Ferguson probably went, "Oh yeah, do you want the job?" Out of boredom.
Like if he'd have gone straight to West Ham after Everton, I would have loved him because I think he would have done exactly the same thing for us as he was doing for Everton at the time. He had a secure place where the fans loved him, the players played well for him. He had it perfect, but that Man United fit, it just killed him. It really did. And there is still signs of a good manager sometimes in David Moyes, like tactically, the way he sets us up sometimes. You look and you think he may still have it in him, but then it just all comes crashing back down to reality when something goes wrong. And there's so much more flaws.
The only thing you can fault Moyes with is he just makes substitutions too late.
Did he do that when he was at Everton with you guys as well?
Yeah, he was bringing absolute dong substitutions. He was bringing them on too late. I can't remember who it was. It was never quick. Like it was never. Oh, do you know what? We'd go 1-0 up, and then all of a sudden he'd switch and stay defensive at 1-0.
Yeah, it's that.
And
It's the opposite
Mourinho.
of us. Because what I was saying the other day, what I got, and I know Jazz, who's in the chat, would love to debate me on this one, but is when it gets to 1 and you think, right, we're in the 70th minute, time to stick or twist. Arsenal twisted, brought in Ketia on, who ended up winning the game for him.
Yeah.
Moyes just stayed static, didn't react to anything that had happened around him, and then brought Yarmolenko or Allaire on 5. I mean, to bring 2 subs on in the 88th and 89th minute and go, oh yeah, go win me the game now. It's just, that's the only issue I have with him, is that he does not close games well, because whenever there's a time to react, it's always 5 minutes too late, and I think that's his biggest downfall for
yeah, you're
him.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
I think in reality with Moyes, it's harsh for him, because it's like he did so well at Everton, but management has moved on, and I don't mean that he's not moved on, although like you say, subs are just like an eternal problem with him, but he's never going to get the time to recreate what he did at Everton ever. Like he's just not. That's just not what management is these days. Like he won't ever get that time again. And so even if he was capable of doing it, and like I'm not saying whether he is or he isn't, although I have a sneaking suspicion it's one. He will never get that time, because what happens is he doesn't close down the game late. He gets lots of losses, and he puts us in, and he comes in with a really dour attitude that affects the rest of the team, and it's rough. Like,
It's what I do.
it's what I do. I win. It's like, bro, you need to live in a bit of a reality world here, and I think that's a shame for him, because he is obviously like. There's a reason he's one of the most, like he's managed one of the most amount of Premier League games. And that's because for such a long time, he was incredible at Everton. And then he took the Man United job. It didn't go well. And then he's just had a succession of jobs where it's like, you're not doing anything here. And you're not going to get the time to do anything here. And it's just going to carry on like that. So
That Man United job was just crazy. Me personally, that plummeted his career so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he had other places as well. He had other places, like Sociedad was like an insane risk, but at least I was like, fair play for taking it. Like, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't have done it.
But the Sun one as well, they were a sinking ship when he took over, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's going to save us, and he's going to do this, 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 and this. And it was already a sinking ship by the time that he joined. Yeah. He didn't join a secure club. When he came to us the first time, it was a sinking ship at that point, potentially, under Bilic, or was heading towards that. And then when he's coming again to try and save it from the Pellegrini stuff, sinking ship, and he just keeps taking successively bad jobs, one after the other. And when he went out to Spain, I feel, in a way, I do feel sorry for him, because he once was one of the best probably managers in the Premier League era. And it's quite sad to see it plummet down. But my God, is he a tactical dinosaur sometimes? It really is. Well, I don't want to get you started on his best mate Alan Irvine, Father Ted, as well.
Alan Irvine, he's a wet wipe as well.
So would you take him back right now, Jay, or would you keep your current manager?
No, I'll keep the current manager. I would have took him if we didn't have Ancelotti. Obviously, if Ancelotti didn't come into the mix, I would have took him back then, because me personally, I think Moyes is a grassroots football manager. He builds you from that level up. Do you know what I mean? We had, look at the other dinosaurs we had. We had Allardyce. Do you know what I mean? It was, in my opinion, not wearing a wank. Do you know what I mean? You can feel me pale on that one. So, and he knew the club. He knew the club. Do you know what I mean? So, me personally, I would have taken him back in an absolute heartbeat. But I'm thankful we've got Ancelotti now, because I think we're getting these big names purely because of his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
same for us when we had Pellegrini. The names that we were getting was because of the manager's stature.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I don't think we would have got anybody off the back of Moyes' names. No, like obviously no disrespect to you.
We literally haven't got anyone off the back of Moyes' name this summer. Quite literally not made a single signing. So
no, it'll come through. Breaking news: Moyes bids for someone in the Bundesliga 3rd division for 70 million. That's what would have happened.
We haven't got 70 million.
I was being too kind on the coffers there.
Yeah. Well, let's have a quick chat about Everton and their league standings, because they're currently second in the league. You know, plan at standing. They've got a great manager, they've got great team, made some amazing signings. Jay, what do you reckon is going to happen with Everton in this season? Do you see hitting the top 6? Do you see hitting top 4?
in the middle, I'd say fifth. In the middle, definitely, I'd say comfortable fifth because we obviously the big thing for the bogey teams for us are the likes of Palace, Wolves, yourselves. Do you know what I mean? Where we slipped up and got draws against it, we should be burying them teams, but because we struggle against the likes of like Liverpool, Chelsea, City, they're the teams that we can see points to all the time. So as long as we beat teams like Wolves, like Palace, like yourselves, then we should be a comfortable fifth. But now with the players we've got, the money we've got, the manager we've got, we should be whooping City because they're playing dreadful. We should be whooping Chelsea, they're playing dreadful. Do you know what I mean? And I'm even optimistic that we could beat Liverpool this season because our games between them are quite close anyway. I just believe we've never had the forwards to actually finish them. Do you know what I mean? I think since Dominic Calvert-Lewin, since he's been with Duncan Ferguson, like he's been working with him so hard lately, you can tell he's a 2020 version of Big Dunk. I think now he's the finished product there. So I think now that's where our goals are going to be coming from. Richarlison, he's not, for a Brazilian, he's not scoring the goals. But that's fine because he's creating them all. I will take that all day. Do you know what I mean? He's either shooting from distance and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's getting them rebounds, or he's getting it into the box. So I'm optimistic this season and hoping that we'll finish a comfortable fifth. Like.
Sean, what do you reckon?
I think lower. I think maybe 8th, 9th.
Oh, really?
I'm all about the trophy. I don't know. I just think it's too early to push it. The Palace win was a good win because they're the types of games where we usually draw or lose, and we got a win. And I don't know. You know what I mean? I just think maybe I'd be happy with a strong 8th finish. If we can get more, then it's brilliant. If we can get higher than the likes of Wolves, Leicester, which personally we've got the squad to do. It just depends if they all perform together.
See, for me, I'd say it's a failure though for you guys. I'd say that's a failure, just simply because if you look at it. Sorry, go on, Joe.
Exactly. Sean, do you even support Everton? If we finish 8th, mate, what's the point in having Ancelotti? What's the point?
I'm saying 8th on the trophy.
No, mate. It should be it should be this. It should be the Carabao Cup trophy now and a comfortable 5th. If we're aiming for 8th with the players we're bringing in and the manager we've got, that's so little faith in our team.
No, but we won't get top 5 in the first year of Ancelotti with the players.
But I think you have to look at it that now is the best time. That the gap between Liverpool and City and the rest has never been bigger. And I think if the time to spend money to put yourself up there, Arsenal aren't the team that they used to be. Chelsea have spent the money, but the team's not working together. The manager's not great. Wolves, Leicester have all spent money. I mean, Castagna, and they've got Cengiz Under or whatever it is that they've brought in. Vardy's here. Those teams that were 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th now have the chance of finally breaking in. And I think when you've got the manager like Ancelotti and the players that he's bringing in and the level of football that you've seen so far, I think anything less than 5th is a failure for me.
Exactly.
I also look at those teams that you have to beat to be 5th. That's what if you look at those teams though, the ones that that Everton would have to beat to become 5th, those are all big teams who have big boy budgets, who have big boy squads, and they're not like there's a couple there who are there for the taking. Man United are probably one of them. If they're not fit and firing, then like that they relied very heavily on that front three last season and Bruno Fernandes. Now obviously Bruno Fernandes is a world-class player and like their strikers are quite good. But if they Bruno Fernandes, yeah.
He's the most expensive penalty taker in the Premier League.
Oh, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, Jay, come on now. Bruno Fernandes.
What does he do apart from score a penalty?
Hang on. No. Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, no, I think he's wet. That's it. I know. He's
okay,
wet.
even if you do think that, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, like they have a three there who are fit and firing. But if they weren't fit and firing, as good as Bruno Fernandes is, he wouldn't have been good enough to take them to where they got, right? So that you could argue they're there for taking. Chelsea have 18,000 new players they need to bid in. If that doesn't work out and Lampard can't recreate what he does a second season in a row, that's another team there for the taking. I think if you're looking at it and you're saying top 8, but being the sort of best of the rest, so 7th or whatever, basically not outside the top 6, but you won a cup, that I would consider, if I was an Everton fan, I would consider that a success if the next season was about building on that and attacking those teams. The problem is I don't know whether you're going to get a second shot at that. That's the big thing.
The only thing for me that would let Everton down is the fact that I don't trust their centre halves or keeper potentially. You can buy all the attacking players you want, and to be fair to you, the Corey and Allen signing should help to mop up anything in front of the back four. Anyway.
Definitely.
But whether it be Michael Keane or Yerry Mina, there's always a few times a season that you can look at them and you think you just made massive glaring mistakes or errors.
Yeah.
If they went out and managed to somehow get a centre half that was half decent before the end of the window, I'd say anything less than fifth or sixth is a failure for me. I just think the fact that it looks so positive with Everton heading into a new ground and a new sort of era in a new ground and all that sort of stuff. You finally got your decent manager, the players and all that. For me personally, and I like Everton as a football club. I think they're a brilliant club. Some of my closest mates are Everton fans, but I want them to be successful just as much as I do West Ham. But I think that they are just on the cusp, and I think for me, anything less than fifth, sixth, or at least trying to show that they can break finally into that pack that's chasing the likes of City and Liverpool, because we know nobody's going to catch them for some time with the squads they've got. But if you can just be in and around there, I think it is. What would you guys say? It was boss. Is that what you say?
Would say it's sound now.
Sound that.
Sound now. Sean's not from Liverpool. Don't worry.
Charlie, what do you reckon? Where do you see?
I'm just enjoying Sean and Jay. It's like the comment section live. It's like when I say I don't like Antonio, and everyone goes, "What? You don't like Antonio? Do you even watch West Ham?" It's great. I love it. I think. Yeah. Sure. Okay. In reality, I think it's one of those things where Everton are the best they've been in such a long time. Since Moyes, probably. And I think they've got all of the tools now to move forward in a really, really big way. Like, I think you're a couple of signings away from being legitimately, like, Jesus. Like, I was talking to my friend who's an Everton fan the other day, and I was like, sorry, where the hell has this come from? Where the hell is... James Rodriguez, what? Carlo Ancelotti, what? All of these players are just existing in Everton right now. It makes no sense, but it's like, it's a beautiful thing. And I think, in reality, if Leicester can put it all together and like you say, sort out the defence, really. And it's not even all of the defence. I mean, you've got Luca Digne, who's, like, in my opinion, easily the best left-back outside the top six and one of the best in the division, full stop. Like, you've got something there. It's just about figuring out those final few pieces to really take it to that top level. I think it's super exciting times to be an Everton fan. With the stadium, an actual football stadium, oh, what a time to be alive.
But look at it now. Apart from Liverpool, all the other teams are very, very beatable. They're all dropping points. Points. Liverpool are the only team, and I hate to say this because I can't stand the shite, but Liverpool are the only team that are actually looking like whale beats at the minute. I think they're going to win the league again, personally, but they're the only team at the minute who look like who are showing any sign of dropping points. City are getting broke quite easily. Chelsea are getting broke quite easily. So are Arsenal. Every team's just there for the taking, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. I'm actually going to predict, and this is what I reckon. I actually reckon Everton are going to finish fourth in the league. They're going to clinch that Champions League last place. I only see good things for Everton at the moment.
You're not just saying that because they're going to beat you up at work.
No, it's annoying. I want to be able to take the piss out of both of them. I want to be able to say, "Hey, let's go to the relegation party," but I just can't. They're too good at the moment. So I do want to say thank you very much to the boys, Jay and Sean. Sean, you've mic'd yourself, so you need to untake that. But thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated. Lastminute.com. You are dodgy.
It's a pleasure.
Stuff, so they're probably going to go rob some cars or nick some wheels.
Ray, you look like Gru from the Minions. Stop giving me shit.
Look, go have your chicken and a can of Coke. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you, Tom.
See you later.
Thank you, Charlie. Much appreciated. Always great.
Catch us tomorrow night, 7:00. How much watch along? Join the other 500-600 of us that are usually in watching us talk nonsense. So.
2-0 to the Toffees, fellas, or dinner's on me.
I'll hold you to that next time I come up to Coyote. Ray's already promised me a VIP spot, haven't you, Ray?
Yeah, got to be in bed by 10 o'clock. But thank you very much to everyone in the chat. Much appreciated. It's time to go. We've got to go.
Fo Sheezy's literally joined as you're about to
Oh,
leave.
Fo, I'm so sorry. Fo, before we go, Fo, have you got any questions you would like to ask the boys from Everton? We're gonna wait for Fo because I apologise to Fo earlier.
Interrupted him.
I know. Fo, have you got any questions? Because we're about to go, Flo. We're an hour late. But I'm gonna hang around just for Fo. No? Okay. Well, they probably asked the question as I end the chat now. So, good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
He's doing it again.
Guys.